I think there is a mistake to overly focus on Netanyahu when they could. Obviously, he's prime minister. He's a very important figure. The issue in Israel is not Netanyahu. It is the fact that for years, long before October 7, Israeli Jewish society itself has been profoundly radicalized. Yes, Netanyahu might win the next election, he might lose, but the likely successors are very little different because that reflects Israeli society.
Yeah, I mean, but isn't that because we've reached a tipping point at which trust on both sides has collapsed completely? I mean, if Yitzhak Rabin doesn't get assassinated in the mid-90s, like there was clearly a quorum of Israelis who wanted peace at that point, and it conceivably could have been done.
We'll never
now,
know.
Since then, has Israeli society radicalized? Absolutely. Has Palestinian society radicalized? Absolutely as well. Was Israeli public opinion coming from a more tolerant place in the 90s than Palestinian public opinion? Yes, it was coming from a more accommodationist point of view. The Palestinian
I think that's
streets,
debatable.
the Palestinian center of gravity in the 70s and 80s wanted the whole pie, and the majority
So did the majority of Israelis.
No, they didn't. Not at the time.
I don't agree with that.
Well, it's clear that after 67, most Israelis thought, this is weird.
No, but
we're sitting on top of another country. We're going to have to figure out a way of giving that back.
But this is a cop-out, Josh. Not with you, but that argument. Because that essentially says that if you're an Israeli Jewish citizen, you have the power to vote, as opposed to many Palestinians who, of course, don't if you're under occupation. You are making a choice to vote for parties for decades, that deepen the occupation, worsen the occupation. I'm just talking about the right wing, the left wing. In the 90s, the left were in power. They expanded settlements more than the right at the time. So I think this is a mistake that's regularly made, that Israel's gone crazy right wing, which is true, because of the Second Intifada, because of suicide bombing. Some of that's undeniably true. I think that's true. But the center of gravity for many Israeli Jews is even worse now than it was 20 years ago. There is no real association with Palestinians. They barely speak to them, if they meet them at all. Their media, with a few notable exceptions, and I'm not talking about the few great journalists with Haaretz, the Israeli press, who speaks to a Palestinian, shock horror. It is day after day, often of literally Nazi-like rhetoric. People might be shocked to see that or hear that. It is Nazi-like rhetoric, long before October 7 and certainly since.